What is going on, guys? If I sound a little low energy right now, it was a long day at work, but I got to recording, so that's good, and I believe today's topic will more than likely amp me up to the point where my voice will raise a few octaves. So anyways, it's Roanoke Gaming here, bringing you some hopeful news about Titanfall 3. If you watched my video on the IMC lore, I kinda took a stab at the fact that EA would more than likely dissolve Respawn like they did with Visceral Games. My sweet, sweet Visceral Games. You were too pure for this world. And that we probably wouldn't see Titanfall 3. Well, I'll be damned if I may be wrong. But what does this mean exactly? Let's drop into this thing and figure out. Let's start from the beginning. First and foremost, as most of you probably know, EA has purchased Respawn, which can mean a couple of things, or at least seem like a couple of things for the future of Titanfall. For me, I didn't think it was gonna happen. EA has a history of purchasing and cutting the legs out from under newly purchased companies. This ensures competition stays out of the way. I may not know all the inner workings of the corporate world, but from my layman's perspective, that's what it looks like. However, according to an article in November of 2017, yes, I know I am tardy to the party on this one, EA has confirmed that new games are in the works. This is just after the purchase of Respawn. EA stated that Titanfall 2 had actually underperformed in sales expectations, but using those big brainy brains of theirs, I think they understand why. Titanfall 2 was released competing with a multitude of games such as the new Call of Duty and the new Battlefield. These weren't just rushed, get them to the consumers before Christmas games either. These are the heavy hitter titles, and can absolutely dominate a quarter. Titanfall was expected to sell roughly 9 to 10 million copies. This was not the case in their third quarter. They ended up selling about 5 to 6 million copies. Considering Titanfall 2 is a sort of breakout compared to the original Titanfall, I would hazard a guess to say that those are pretty high sales considering the competition and the lukewarm reception of the original Titanfall. So EA has stated that they are happy with the sales. 13 days later, EA announced a new game was in the works, and it can be hypothesized that this is going to be Titanfall 3. God let us hope. What does that mean though exactly for Titanfall 3? Well, both good and bad things, unfortunately. Let's start with the good. First, Titanfall 3 will most likely be released in 2018 or 2019, and that's generating a huge amount of optimism for me as I absolutely love the campaign, and I hate everybody in multiplayer. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Apex dogs. I remember, all you did was run a Ronin, and it was absolutely annoying. The story in Titanfall 2 was oddly satisfying and seemed to come out of nowhere. While there's not really a lot of backstory, the bonding between Cooper and BT was a really nice experience, and they seemed to hit the nail on the head. And don't even get me started on how cool that mission was, jumping through time. I mean, who in their right mind saw that coming? I can only imagine that in Titanfall 3, they will continue to develop the story and make it even better by giving it some more background. The emotion in the story was nothing short of a AAA game, as you could tell they put a lot of thought and a lot of effort into making you feel like it was you and your 60-ton mech against the world. Overall, I am more than happy to shell out $60 at this point just for some more campaign alone. And begrudgingly, the multiplayer, which I find myself developing high blood pressure playing, but God help me, it is a blast. But we also need to talk about what might happen and mentally prepare ourselves. EA has screwed the pooch more than once as of late, but I can't even really blame just them. Bungie has done the same thing with Destiny. Activision is the new EA in some respects, but you know it was gonna come up. Microtransactions. Respawn mastered the art of microtransactions. You never needed to buy anything to progress. All you needed to do was play the game and play it well. It was amazing in respect that you progressed through the ranking system to unlock weapons, skins, titans, and then you could use in-game credits to keep them after you regen, and that way you would still have access. I never felt pressured to buy these microtransactions from Respawn, and I also knew that these didn't make any other player unfairly better than me, except Apex dogs. Regardless, it was all based on skill, and if you wanted extra, you could throw a few bucks and buy some cool looking new titans, and it was perfect conditions to foster respect between the player and the developer. This actually led me, for the first time in years, to purchase a microtransaction to complete that for the extra add-ons and get some Prime Titans because Respawn weren't tools about it. But let's not get this twisted. EA will take a dump on this ecosystem. Mark my words, we've seen it 1,000 times before, it's going to happen. I could sit here all day and throw out some guesses as to how they plan to ruin this, but I almost don't have to. We saw it in Battlefront 2, we've seen predatory microtransactions applied in Destiny, we've seen the downfall of Dead Space due to this mindset. I worry about Titanfall 3. Do I still want Titanfall? You bet I do. Do I want to pay $5 for the Legion Titan add-on that gives me an extra minigun coming out of my face that does double damage? No, I do not. Will people buy it and dominate the field? Absolutely. Will I be forced to buy it to pay to win, essentially? Yeah. Will I buy it? No. I wonder about Titanfall 3 in this aspect. I can easily see them upping the damage states for certain Titans or putting some of the basic weapons behind paywalls in a pay-to-win scenario. Honestly, I just don't trust EA, but let's not dwell on the bad, I suppose, and let's kind of steer back into some good conversation and figure out what are some of the things that maybe would make Titanfall 3 better. First, and this is a purely my opinion sort of thing, let's fix the skins that you can get on weapons, Titans, pilots. They need a better look. I see a lot of interesting colors like bright pink and orange mixed with blue for some reason, but from a battle perspective, these don't make too much sense. We need some actual camo skins, some good skins, something that says your Titan has been tested and so have you. Not that you're a 15-year-old kid named Apex Dogs who cheats at the game, I swear to God. Next, we need some larger maps, or really some more variety. I've seen a lot of 3-lane styles coming about lately, and I can remember a map that did this awesomely from the original Titanfall. It was a map that was like a misty forest or a swamp. I should go back and look it up, but I'm already recording, so I'm sure you guys remember this map. I can't place my finger on it, but it's right on the tip of my tongue. But all I remember was the battles were biblical. And then there was a map where you drop in and these giant dragon birds start picking up grunts and flying off with them. It was huge. There was the upper field where you could shoot down on other Titans trying to attack. But, for the Titans trying to attack, they could sneak around the back of this area and totally take you out and take the hill. It was awesome. Titanfall 2 seemed to kind of scale down the fighting arenas, or at least make them all flat. And I think it's time they make Titanfall 3 great again in that aspect. The next thing is a longer campaign. Titanfall 2 had a great campaign, but let's be honest, it was a little short considering the other games out there. If they could squeeze out a few extra hours in a meaningful way, honestly, that could help sales of the game and keep people interested for longer. We also need Titans to be customizable again. Look, I love the different classes, but sometimes I want to roll around in a heavy with a 40mm cannon like an absolute tank. Other times, I want my Strider class to have a chain gun capable of chewing up enemies like an athletic badger. We've fallen into a trap as of late online because every class has a counter, and yet there doesn't seem to be a good counter for Ronin. Everyone runs Ronins now. And as you can imagine, if you've got a North Star that's as quick as a Ronin, but they have a chain gun tearing them apart, that creates a more dynamic way of fighting and makes it much harder for one player to go and dominate the playing field. But mainly, let's just hope that Respawn can keep the reins wrestled away from EA on this one. If they can't, I fear it will go the way of Dead Space 3, and this will be the final game. Insulting, too many microtransactions, and invasive greed. Let's not let that be the legacy of Titanfall. Alright guys, well that's all I've got time for today. If I missed anything, let me know in the comments, because I always answer my comments, even if you're telling me to, jump off the balcony of my apartment. I still can't wait for Titanfall 3 to come out so I can develop an even worse blood pressure issue online and maybe even get an aneurysm out of it. Please like and subscribe if you thought the video was good. If you didn't think it was good, you'll probably dislike it, so that'd be cool, man. Alright, I will catch y'all in the next one.